Do you feel like ranked is tough? Maybe you're stuck in low elo hell. Wish you had different or better teammates? Well, I'd love to share with you the most common reasons why players feel unable to climb in the ranking system. It may come to your surprise, but it's not usually because of your aim. You might think, well, hey, this is a shooter, right? So I need godlike aim, and that's why I'm not climbing ranks. Maybe you feel like your teammates are holding you back. In reality, it's most likely one or several of these skills you might be lacking that we're about to cover. So stay tuned. Hello, fellow gamers. My name is Dan, and today I'm excited to share with you the top reasons why you might be stuck in your rank and unable to climb. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please comment down below which tip helped you the most. Also, be sure to check out our 8 techniques pros use that you probably don't if you want more tips. Before we dive straight in though, as always, we have our question of the day. Which weapon or weapons do you feel are too strong in their current state? Personally, I think the Judge and the Shorty need some tweaking. Although those guns alone aren't too troublesome by themselves, couple them with a good jet player and you got a recipe for disaster. I feel like shotguns being very viable in a high-level play due to Jet's ability to abuse its 100% accuracy while floating or dashing can be quite annoying. Do you agree with me? Or maybe you feel like there are other weapons that need tuning first. We'd like to know what you think. Okay, let's start with the most common issue I hear many players tell me. These players will often state that their teammates are holding them back from achieving their desired rank. Every once in a while, any player will get games that are nearly unwinnable. At the end of the day, you can't win them all, but if you win more games than you lose, you will always climb. So the key to climbing the ranked ladder is recognizing how to play properly with teammates you trust and don't trust. I want to teach you guys the proper way to play around teammates in rank, specifically when you're queuing alone or with one other friend. Okay, so how do we deal with teammates that we feel are subpar in our expectations or aren't really playing the way we would hope they would? Well, we've all been there, maybe getting frustrated and verbalizing our anger out toward our teammate, but if you really want them to listen, try and word it in a more passive manner. For example, you could say, hey Brimstone, can you smoke this area and this area next time? Usually if you give them the option to try it, they might do it, versus telling them to do it bluntly, which often results in some resistance. Go try this out in your ranked games. I guarantee you will start getting some pretty interesting results. Okay, so how about when teammates are still unwilling to cooperate even if you've tried to word things in a nicer tone? This is where baiting comes into play. A bad habit I see many players do is make plays alone without the help of any teammates, or they follow their teammates but won't use them properly as bait. Using a teammate as bait is essential to climbing the ranks, as if you let them do their own thing and die for free, now you and your team are at a disadvantage. So start being more conscious of how your teammates are positioning themselves. Are they looking to play aggressive? Are they holding the angle? By asking these questions, you can get a better feel on how your teammates like to play. And by matching their style, you can start to help them when they do decide to do something. As long as you're there to help, you greatly increase the chance of them living, and in the worst case scenario, you open up the opportunity to trade kills. Again, the earlier you can get into the habit of trading kills, the better you will be at this game. It's a fundamental that can't be ignored and may be the single most important reason that you're feeling currently stuck in your ranked climb. Regardless of what rank you may be at now, this is by far one of the worst recurring mistakes I see players of all skill levels do. What I'm referring to is the bad habit of shift walking out in the open. This puts you at a huge disadvantage as your movement speed is slowed, making the shot much easier for your enemy to land. While it's important to cut noise so it's harder for your enemy to know where or when you make them peek, it's just as important to peek correctly. So next time you get caught out in the open while shift walking, think to yourself if shift walking was necessary there. A good rule of thumb to follow is this: start getting to the habit of wide swinging anytime you're exposing yourself to a potential angle that an enemy may be playing. This way, if they're holding the angle, they will have to adjust their crosshair to your movement before they can shoot. If you shift walk peek out in the open, you're pretty much stationary, which doesn't force your opponent to adjust their crosshair position much. Additionally, if you're comfortable swinging exposed angles, this will also make it hard for your enemies to hold positions. You now switch the advantage where he is stationary and your shot is easier, while his shot is harder. You might think that playing the game is the best way to get better at the game you want to be good at. Well, this is completely true, but there is such a thing as playing too much or playing too little. I want to talk about the problem of burnout that I see persistent, especially with quarantine still in effect. It's just as imperative to play the game as it is to take breaks when you're feeling mentally out of it. This is the easiest way to make sure you're performing at your peak level. If you're not enjoying the game, it's always best to take some time off from playing. Maybe explore a new game, get some fresh air, or spend some time with your loved ones. I see far too many players continuing to queue ranked when they aren't playing up to par and will end up throwing away their elo. At the end of the day, your own mental health is much more important than a rank in a game. Even those that play Valorant for a living will take days off to reset their mental so they can perform better in the future. Think of your brain like any part of your body. For example, if you overwork your biceps, you can risk tearing those muscle fibers, which can lead to permanent damage. The brain is no different. If you overwork it without the proper rest, it can lead to some serious health conditions in the future. Regardless of that, taking breaks is very important to reduce burnout and allow you to play at your best. I'd recommend taking a break from playing ranked anytime you feel irritated and just go do something else. The game will be there for you when you feel ready to play again. Simply put, the closer you are to a wall, the earlier an enemy will see you before you're able to see them. Make sure if you intend to actually hard peek an angle, you stay farther away from that wall. It will sometimes turn the tides on the enemy and allow you to see them before they can even see you. The only time hugging close to a wall is an ideal play is if you're using it to bait shots out from your enemy. Again, because they see your player model before you see them, you can use your shoulder to jiggle bait before you decide to commit your entire body. Usually, this will net you free kills if done correctly, and is a great way of figuring out if an enemy is holding that angle you want to eventually peek. I want to start by saying that being consistent with your warm-up routine is far more important than having the right one. Each person has a different set of skills, and things they need to work on will vary from person to person. So let me explain how I like to currently warm up, and then I'll discuss how to create an extensive warm-up that you can adopt for your own future use. Copying mine will be fine, but being able to recognize and mold your routine to fit you will give you even better results. Alright, so let's jump straight into my routine. First, I like to start simple with still standing practice bots. I like to work on a little bit of burst strafing. I do this at long, medium, and close range. Afterwards, I move on to crouch spraying, and I do this at long, medium, and close range. The number one key to warm up your aim is by changing the distance of where you're shooting and how you shoot. Regardless if you want to work on still, moving, or appearing targets, mixing up those parts is the best way to warm up your aim. Otherwise, when you go into your games, you won't be as comfortable engaging your enemy at all different ranges and angles. Next, I like to play a few rounds of hard bots. If you have a hard time with this, start with easy and eventually work your way up. Do this at your own pace and don't feel pressured to do hard right away. Lastly, I like to head over to the teleporter and practice a few rounds of spike defusal and spike plant scenarios. This is usually the least utilized part of the range, and I think it's a great thing to end off on before you head into your first game. What I would suggest is try to identify what part of your aim may be a little weak. Do you struggle with spray control? Start practicing it on different bots at different ranges. Maybe use the target to see how you're doing with that spray control. Maybe you have a hard time flicking. Then I would suggest focus more on easy/medium/hard bots. But overall, if you don't know exactly your weak points, make sure you're keeping your warm-up consistent and practicing the different ranges and the different shooting types. Lastly, don't feel hesitant to use outsources of warming up. I personally have dabbled with Kovacs, AimLab, and Osu. They're all great sources, and I would recommend adding them on top of the warm-up I covered. However, there's nothing that truly replaces the feeling of warming up in the actual game. Even if you feel like these issues don't apply to your own gameplay, I still implore you to follow this one. VOD reviewing is something that I actively use and have seen many people drastically improve their game by doing so. The key to effectively VOD reviewing your game is to honestly sit down with yourself and reflect upon your gameplay. It's scary to admit that you may make mistakes, but trust me, once you're comfortable admitting it to yourself, it's one of the biggest steps to improving. You need to be able to recognize your own mistakes and accept them. It's just as important not to be hard on yourself for making these mistakes, but simply accept that they happen and that they can be changed. Once you've accepted them, you can start making active solutions to fixing them in-game. It's completely okay if your solution doesn't work at first, because you can always try something new. Trial and error is king here, folks. So how do I like to VOD review? Well, my personal favorite way of VOD reviewing is having a notepad ready and writing down notes about what I'm doing correctly and incorrectly. Once you have those notes, try and take away 3 to 5 key ideas that you can start working on. Bonus points if you remind yourself before you hop into the game or while you're warming up about these mistakes you want to start improving on. If you need extra help learning how to VOD review, or you feel like you're not catching some of your mistakes, you can look to book a session with one of our many ProGuides coaches. Now that Ranked has been out for quite some time, we at ProGuides want you to have fun and continue to learn regardless of what rank you currently have. These common reasons on why you may be stuck in elo hell can be easily avoidable. Make sure to keep these in mind if you feel like you're struggling. Well, that's all we have for this video. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to hit the bell notification to ensure you stay up to date with our videos and ahead of the competition. If you want further help, feel free to check out our website, ProGuides.com, for the best on-demand coaching. Our coaches are among the very best, and we hope you check them out if you enjoyed this video. They will help you with any of your individual Valorant needs and can bring you to the next level. And hey, if that's not your style, make sure to check out our Discord. We have a great community where you can chat, hang out, and possibly find friends to play with. We hope to see you all in future videos, and stay healthy, ProGuides fam.